The Kethari were a species born of the hunt. Their claws, sharp as the jagged rocks that defined their home planet, tore through prey with precision. Their culture, steeped in traditions of strength and survival, left no room for weakness. Yet, as their planet bathed in the soft glow of its twin moons, a crisis loomed that no claw or fang could fight. A silent predator of its own, a devastating plague, had swept through the Kethari's dens, targeting their young. Cubs, once playful and fierce, now lay motionless, their breaths shallow. It was a blow not only to their population but to their very identity. The Kethari, unyielding warriors, had no answer to this unseen enemy. In the council chambers, elders with graying fur argued fiercely. Some demanded isolation, trusting only in their own strength. Others whispered of seeking aid from the Interstellar Coalition, a network of species they had always kept at arm's length. The thought was almost sacrilegious. Outsiders, meddling in Kethari affairs. Unthinkable. But as debates raged, Zal'rin, a mother whose cubs had shown the first signs of the sickness, made a decision that would change everything. Late that night, she wrapped her cubs in the soft pelts of her ancestors and slipped away from her village, her heart pounding with fear and resolve. She had heard whispers of the humans, those strange creatures who had settled on the outskirts of their territory, studying the planet's ecosystem. Humans, it was said, were weak. Their bodies lacked the claws, teeth, or armored hides that defined survival. Yet stories circulated of their bizarre tenacity. They were creatures who nurtured life, even the life of species not their own. It was madness to trust them, but as Zal'rin's cubs grew weaker in her arms, madness seemed the only option left. The human outpost was a stark contrast to the wild beauty of the Kethari lands. Its structures were sleek, utilitarian, and brimming with faint, humming lights. Zal'rin approached cautiously, her sharp eyes scanning for danger. She didn't trust these creatures, but she had no choice. Inside the main building, Dr. Elena Carter worked tirelessly, her team analyzing soil samples and atmospheric data. She barely noticed the shadow that darkened the doorway until a low growl made her freeze. Turning slowly, Elena found herself face to face with Zal'rin, who stood tall and imposing, her fur bristling with tension. Zal'rin did not speak the human tongue, but her actions spoke volumes. Gently, she laid her cubs on the floor, their frail bodies a heartbreaking sight. Then, with a guttural sound that might have been a plea or a warning, she stepped back, her golden eyes locked on Elena's every move. For a moment the room was silent. Then, Elena knelt beside the cubs, her movements slow and deliberate. Her gaze softened as she examined them, murmuring quietly to her team. They moved into action, their efficiency and compassion startling to Zal'rin. She watched as these fragile-looking creatures began a fight unlike any she had ever seen, one not of strength but of care. The cubs' condition began to stabilize, though the road to recovery was far from over. Zal'rin, who had kept herself distant and watchful, found herself compelled to step closer. She observed as the humans worked in silent determination, their faces marked by exhaustion but never faltering in resolve. The care they gave was not mechanical. It was deeply personal. Each touch, each adjustment of the equipment, carried an intensity that spoke of genuine concern. For the first time, Zal'rin allowed herself to feel a sliver of hope. Yet hope came with its own weight, a vulnerability she wasn't sure she could bear. As her cubs slept under the humans' watchful eyes, their small chests rising and falling with newfound rhythm, Zal'rin began to question everything she had believed. These beings, who seemed so weak on the surface, had fought harder for her young in one night than many of her own kind might have. That fragile hope was soon threatened. The Kethari Elder Council had discovered Zal'rin's actions. Furious at her defiance, they dispatched a group to retrieve her and her cubs. Their arrival at the human outpost was sudden and forceful, the air brimming with tension as they confronted Zal'rin and the humans. "You have betrayed us," one of the elders snarled, his voice filled with both anger and fear. "You've placed our future in the hands of those who have no claim to it." Zal'rin, standing protectively between the humans and her cubs, refused to back down. "I have done what our pride would not allow." These cubs were dying, and they are alive because of these humans. Can you not see that? The elders were unmoved. Their mistrust of outsiders ran deep, and their pride even deeper. To them, entrusting their young to another species was an affront to their very identity. But before they could take action, Dr. Elena Carter stepped forward. Her voice was calm but resolute. We understand your anger, and we do not seek to undermine your ways. But this is not about pride or territory. It's about life. Innocent life that deserves every chance to survive. The words hung in the air, met with silence. Elena continued, her tone unwavering. We are not your enemies. We do not stand here to claim power or control. We stand here because it is our nature to protect, to heal, and to give hope where there is none. Your cubs are alive because you were brave enough to trust us, even if only for a moment. Isn't their survival worth more than any fear or mistrust? Among the elders, one younger voice rose hesitantly. A Kethari named Varric, known for his progressive views, stepped forward. Perhaps. There is strength in what they do, he said slowly. A strength we have overlooked. To fight for the weak, to protect without gain. This too is survival. The elder council, though reluctant, could not deny the truth in his words. They agreed to let the humans continue their work, though their distrust remained palpable. For Zal'rin, it was a victory, however small. For the humans, it was a chance to prove that compassion could bridge even the deepest divides.